welcome to this edition of Your Mac Life, show number 1211. It is April 24th, 2019. I am Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
Thank you guys very much for joining us here on this Wednesday evening, or if you're tuned into the archive, thank you very much for joining us there. On tonight's show, we'll talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. I'm going to talk to Jim about... Tim Cook says, put your iPhone down. We'll talk about that. And the Apple Watch launch was 4 years ago today. And we'll talk, see if Jim is still using his Apple Watch as much as he was an early proponent of it.
I'm sorry, what did Tim Cook say? Put your iPhone down.
I'll explain a little bit. Basically, Tim Cook says Apple doesn't want you using your iPhone constantly. And some people are saying he's not telling the truth. You don't believe him?
I didn't say that, no.
You sound like you were...
No. Actually, I believe the man is quite an authentic man.
And also that there should be more regulation of social media and tech companies in the United States, which is a radical viewpoint for a lot of Americans. As soon as you say those kind of things, it's socialism, it's anti-capitalism. We'll talk about that. And in our starting point photography segment, we're going to do a gentle critique of the photos of some of our students from Lisbon from last March. There are 2 videos. There's 10 videos posted up on the YouTube site. There's a day of video 1 through 9 that we were in Lisbon. You can watch those. You can also watch the student video. I got the students to send me some of their best shots, and I posted those up on a video. And then that's what we do tonight. We're going to look at some of those shots and some other ones and give critiques on them. I got to say, some of them were spectacular. Some of them, and as I said in the video, I love when I'm in the same place as a student and they either take a shot I never saw. Melissa took several of those. Mm-hmm. MacMan took some. Dave D took some.
And took some.
Or they took a shot that wasn't as good as mine. Melissa and I, there's 2 shots in particular that Melissa took of that we were in the exact same spot, same people in the shots. That's how you can tell we were the exact same shot. And Melissa's shot turned out better. And the other one was that there was the one shot of the old lady with the graffiti wall. Your shot came out much better than mine. And the other one was of that mural that I had you stand in front of. And no offense, it didn't look as good with you in it.
Oh no, it didn't need me in it.
As the shot you took without. So
I look like a fatty in it, like a little little Portuguese woman. But it didn't need anyone. Oh, it is. Oh my God. Wee.
So all that and more coming up on the show. So thank you guys very much for joining us here. Good news, bad news. For those folks who follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I got fired, not for the first time, from the Inside Apple newsletter. It really, really pisses me off that with the words, not a good journalistic fit, the folks at Inside let me go and said that because I didn't have a journalistic background, which they knew about when they hired me, by the way, that I was no longer writing the Inside Apple newsletter.
I have to interject here, and I have to let everybody know that there's the editor-in-chief who came in after Shawn was hired, and everyone was all excited, and Shawn brought on all these new subscribers because of who he is, and it was all going well. May I say it? She called Shawn an Apple fanboy. And I'm sorry, I'm not a nerd, and I don't do, but I know so deeply that Shawn is not a fanboy. So I was shocked at that.
That might have been the one thing that literally made me realize.
She seemed to think she knew all about Apple, and she wanted Shawn to put. It was very odd. It was just odd. When she came on board, and there started to emerge all of these very, very challenging things for you in regards to many different things. I started to get nervous. So I started thinking, this doesn't sound like it's going too well. She's giving Shawn a very hard time. And to call him a fanboy is like really wrong.
That was the probably the one thing that annoyed me the most. the two people who hired me are leaving or have left the company. And so they brought in a new managing editor. No problem. And she had a traditional journalistic background. And that's fine. That's great, as a matter of fact. And when we spoke, I said, I want to learn from you guys. I want to learn this stuff. When I was hired, they knew I didn't have a journalism background, and they were okay with that.
Well, they solicited you to work for them.
And then we talked about it, and I didn't want to write a newsletter that was just going to be just the facts journalism. Because you can get that anywhere. If you are who they think their target audience is, their audience is already getting just the facts. Their audience already knows where to get the news of the day. What I wanted to do, and what they said they wanted me to do, was to give the news, but also give the Shawn's takes or the opinions on the news. Why is this news important? Why should you care about this stuff? And that's what the Shawn's takes things were about. The editor-in-chief, frankly, the new editor, managing editor, didn't like the Shawn's takes. So she made that obliquely clear that she wasn't really a fan of. And I thought, well, if you take those out, then I'm just being a stenographer. Because all we're really doing at the Inside newsletters is rewriting someone else's news story. We're not doing the journalism ourselves. We're not going out and finding the stories and interviewing people and doing that kind of stuff. We're just linking to other stories and writing about them.
Well, and as Shawn says, they were saying, we just want a bit of a pizzazz to it, Shawn. A bit of a twist.
So when we talked about it, and she said that, you're a fanboy, and there's not enough what she called balanced news, and what it turned out she meant was negative news about Apple. I was like, well, I can't link to stories that aren't being written. If everything is good in the Apple universe, I can't link to stories that don't exist. Those negative or balanced stories that she wanted.
She was looking for issues.
The idea of calling me a fanboy, I'm a lot of things, and I like Apple. I like Apple products, but I've never been a fanboy.
Shawn is a brutally honest man, as everybody knows. If something's going negative, he's going to say it, and he'll be very upfront. That's what shocked me.
And then the other aspect of it was that I said there have been balanced stories. Well, I said many times, I think Apple News is a disaster, and I linked to several stories that said Apple News wasn't very good. The the AirPower Mat embarrassment, I said that was an embarrassment. Linked to stories about that. Several stories about Apple's stock price was softening because of any number of reasons. But unless other people are writing those stories, I can't do anything about it.
No.
Anyway, let's move on.
No, I'm just interested to say what Sherry has found is that it's on hiatus right now, is what she's found. Well, I didn't see this.
So what I've done is started my own newsletter, the YML newsletter. I'm going to find a better name. Starting this coming Monday. You can subscribe to it on the YourMacLifeShow.com website. You can, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll get the link for it. Facebook, you'll get the link for it, or send me an email. It's going to be pretty much the same style and format of the Inside Apple newsletter, but I'll have more freedom to say what I think and what I want within the bounds of legality and propriety and those kinds of things. Don't worry about me just ranting and raving and cursing and swearing the entire time. But the other aspect of it will be that I'll be able to do more things of a general interest nature. It won't just be Apple, Dave D, call it Shawn's Takes. Nice, I like that. It won't just be strictly Apple stuff. We've always said that Your Mac Life isn't just about Macintosh. It's about the people who use a Macintosh. So I think that will be the guiding principle of the newsletter. I got a tweet someone said, I will subscribe to your newsletter as long as you promise to be as unbiased, unrelentless to all the shitty self-proclaimed journalists out there. I love your opinions. That's pretty much what it's going to be. But it's also going to be some other things too. There'll be little photography tips in there. There'll be other stories that I find of interest too, and hopefully you will find it. The biggest key about it will be it's got to be monetized. I've got to make money on this. I can't put in the work without making money. Inside Apple paid me. I want Your Mac Life newsletter to pay me. At the beginning, it's going to be affiliate links. And By the way, as I said in the welcome letter, I'll never sell any of your email subscription information. I will never sell your address. I will never give the list to anybody else. Never, ever, 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 ever. Any ads we have will be clearly marked as ads. Any affiliate links we have will be clearly marked as affiliate links. If they're in a story, they'll be clearly marked in the story, and they'll be in service of the story. I will never put in an affiliate link in a story to write the story for the affiliate link, like some websites we know, who will be named.
Even I know those.
Folks have suggested some things. Someone suggested John Gonder on Twitter suggested a daily or weekly video of the newsletter. And it's a lot more work as well. Monty has been helping me figure some stuff out too. So there's going to be ways of making money. So don't be surprised when you see ads. This is not a community thing. This is the way for me to make money, to replace the money that was lost from the Inside Apple newsletter. Because frankly, we need the money. And frankly, I want to get paid for what I do. I want to get paid for the work that I do like everybody else. So hopefully you guys will support that. Again, go to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. On the left-hand side there, it says subscribe to the YML newsletter. There are other ways of doing it. Or like I said, send me Dave D, you're a damn capitalist, Shawn. Yeah, you're right, I am. The key, though, is going to be in subscriber numbers. Any newsletter lives and dies by the number of people who subscribe. Without a certain amount of subscribers, no advertiser is going to want to give me money, even though all the ads will be targeted at general Apple, Mac, iPhone users. And that helps a lot. You need fewer subscribers for a heavily targeted newsletter like the one we've got. But you still need 500, 1,000, 10,000, who knows, number of subscribers. So I really, really want you guys to subscribe. Help me out here. Subscribe to the newsletter. Open the newsletter when you get it, because one of the things I found out from the inside folks is that the open rate is important, which makes sense. If you've got ads inside a newsletter, you want your customers to open,
of course,
the newsletter in order to see the ad, to give you more potential for the ads. So advertisers are going to ask me, what's your open rate? You know, it's fine if you're sending it out to 10,000 people, but if no one's opening it, their ads are wasted. So when you get the newsletter, even if you don't read it, just open it. Just double click on it, or whatever you're going to do in your email program to send that message back to the server that says, I opened it. Dave D says, we use MailChimp for our business. The open rate is important. Yes, it is. So please, like I said, help us out by subscribing to the YML newsletter. Later on the show, we're going to do our starting point photography critique of our trip, of the photos that some of the great photos that the students took in Lisbon. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on the show this Wednesday evening, or in the archive if you so choose to tune in that way. On our phone now, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm good, Shawn. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was your week?
Well, I have some bad news for you.
I'm sorry to hear that. Are you leaving me?
No, you're going to have to wait a little bit to get your foldable Samsung phone. Just in case you had $2,000 burning a hole.
Yeah,
in your
no
pocket.
kidding, no kidding. That's one of the funniest things ever. I love some of the stories we've seen today. Is that we think we know why the Samsung Galaxy Fold failed. Yeah, it was a shitty design.
Because it folds.
Exactly, just because it folds. No one even got a chance to look at any other aspect of the phone because they all broke.
God.
This is one of those things that I hope somehow, somewhere, somebody tells us the Samsung story of this. How the hell did this make it through whatever checks and balances are supposed to happen at the company? Because most people could see something like this happening. That was going to be the weak point. And to have it happen instantly with the reviewers, not, in 6 months' time, people have used it 10,000 times. But in the inside of a day, this thing was breaking on people. How did it get past Samsung quality assurance?
Do they even know what that is?
Well, Dave D says, don't they have a machine that flex tests this kind of thing? I read an interesting comment on from iFixit that said the Samsung machine, the way it did it evenly on all aspects of the phone, whereas human beings open and close things by putting pressure points in certain places or one-handed or that kind of thing. And maybe that was part of the problem.
So they're opening it wrong.
They're opening. That's right. They were opening it wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Okay, well.
This is one of those things, and I hate doing this kind of stuff, but can you imagine the utter shitstorm that would have happened if this had happened to Apple?
Oh, it would have been awful. But people expect shit from Samsung, and that's what they got, and so big hit.
Do you think that's part of it? Is that, as the Macalope has said on Macworld.com, Apple is held to a much, much higher standard than these other companies?
Of course they are. Yeah, Apple's held to a higher standard for everything that they do, no matter if it's a service or what. Other places can have failures or go down or, do whatever. And okay, it was bad. I'll give you an example. You want an example?
Yes.
I'll give you an example of a company that continually screws up, but yet just reported billions in profit.
Yep.
Facebook.
And
the Facebook earnings prove my point that people do not care about privacy.
Yeah.
There it is.
Is that to be expected? Is that annoying? Is that frustrating? What are your thoughts about that?
No, the only part to me that's frustrating is when Facebook does something wrong. Well, people scream and yell about privacy and Facebook and everything, but what they don't seem to understand, these people that are screaming and yelling, is that the average user doesn't care. And it shows. They're making billions upon billions of dollars in profit a quarter.
Does the average, I think, is part of it that the average user doesn't care because the average user hasn't been affected by this yet? We tend not to care about things that don't affect us directly. Facebook has 1 billion users, so even when they have a breach of 1.5 million passwords, only about 10% of those people are going to be affected by it. So the vast majority of people never see the downside of Facebook. They may read about it, the news may report it, but people sit back and go, that doesn't affect me, I don't care.
Well, yeah, and they continue to see Facebook as a value, obviously, because they're still using it. And, as much as the tech industry and governments and everything else want to scream and yell about Facebook and Google, the average person just does not care.
Tim Cook said at the Time 100 summits earlier this week that he believes that companies like Facebook and Apple need to have more strict government regulation, something along the lines of what happens in the European Union. Do you agree with him on that?
Man, that's a tough one. The types of regulations probably would have more of an effect on Facebook than they would on Apple.
Maybe that's why Cook is suggesting it.
Yeah. So, it would have the way that I see government regulation is that Apple is already regulated.
Yeah.
They can't put out faulty batteries that explode, and they can't do all this hardware stuff. So it is regulated. It has to pass government tests. It has to do all of this stuff. Whereas Facebook really doesn't, and Apple's privacy and security are top notch. So they would pass that test. A lot of these other companies just wouldn't.
Yeah.
So if there was regulation, then sure, that would hurt Facebook. It would hurt Google. It would hurt a lot of other companies.
The downside of governmental regulation as opposed to industry regulation is that the government often tends to have a very heavy hand on these kinds of things. You may have heard the stories, folks, out of Britain last week. Britain is trying to institute basically porn filters that people will have to send in their ID in order to be able to access UK-based pornographic websites. Perfectly legal websites, but they're worried about young people having access to them. And I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But it seems like it's a heavy-handed way of solving the problem. Is there a danger that especially U.S. government authorities would go too far overboard and cause more problems than they're trying to solve?
Well, part of the problem with governments and technology is that most governments don't understand the technology.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think that we've seen that with the questions that were being asked of Facebook and Google.
Yep.
Just in the past little while. I mean, some of the questions were just so stupid.
Yeah.
Clearly, they had no idea what they were talking
That's
about,
right.
and those are the ones that are responsible for setting laws,
which is scary.
Which is scary. So, what kind of laws are they going to set? Well, then they get lobbied, and then the laws get whittled down, and then the companies can pay people to look the other way or do whatever they do, and then they get caught, and then they pay a little fine. But look, what did Facebook put away for its fines that they expected? $3 billion?
$3 billion.
Yeah, but they made what, 26?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a good trade-off.
And they'll make more in the time it takes to get the lawsuit through.
Right. I'll take that $3 billion fine.
Yep.
and make what, 26 billion this quarter?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. That's a good trap. I'll do that.
Is it time for Apple to bring back eWorld? In other words, to bring back because MacMan says in the IRC chat room, I use Facebook regularly and would gladly ditch it, but it's the only way I have to keep in touch with friends and family. eWorld was and could be Apple's answer to Facebook from the point of view of security and data preservation and privacy and those kinds of things. Are we asking too much of Apple to ask them to take care of this stuff for us?
Yes, because we've seen before what Apple does with social networking, and they don't know how to do it.
That's a fair point. You're right.
I mean, this eWorld would be the ping of social networks.
Ouch.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Yep.
I mean, Apple just can't do that. And there is a network out there that has everything on it that we should be able to use responsibly, but as a race, we just can't seem to do.
Yep.
We have governments trying to regulate things that they don't like for what could be good reasons, but they don't know how to do it. So now everybody has to send their ID in to look at boobs. And, it's just, there's so many things that, should Facebook and Google regulate some of the content that's on their site? It's not even content. Facebook is allowing people to buy ads.
Yeah.
To disseminate, horrible information. Well, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're going to, if Facebook says that they've fixed the problem, you found out that they haven't, and you take them to court, sue them for their quarterly profits.
Yes.
Over the time that happened.
Yep.
Whatever, don't set a number, whatever the quarterly profits were. So this has been going on for a year, and you made $25 billion per quarter. You owe us $100 billion.
Yep. I agree. I think
it's just.
I think it's definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just like in hockey or soccer. You take a cheap hit at somebody and knock them out. Then you should be suspended for the exact amount of time it takes him to make it back.
Yep.
If he's gone for 6 months, well, guess what? You don't get paid for 6 months.
That's right. I think that's part of the issue, too, is that these companies do this profit and loss management, and they recognize that the fines that government entities are willing to impose on them are significantly less than the money they'll make from doing the bad thing, or not even doing security properly and accidentally on purpose losing data or giving data away. And they go, yeah, like you said, it's a $3 billion fine, but we made $26 billion, so we're still up on the deal.
Yep, and up by a lot,
and up by significant amounts. Yes. Does that mean that, bringing this back to Apple, that you believe that there's nothing Apple can do in this regard? Is it just going to be Tim Cook pissing into the wind and being Don Quixote and tilting at windmills that Apple as a corporation can't do anything about?
Well, I don't think that we should expect Apple to fix this problem.
Yeah.
I mean, this problem, especially when you have the majority of users that don't care.
Yeah.
So if the entire world stood up and quit Facebook and nobody went to Facebook tomorrow and they were all looking for a better place, then yes, maybe Apple could do something and say, okay, here's what we've been working on, and it's a safe place, and there's no of the hatred speech, and there's none of this other stuff, and you can all come here. But until that happens, until people the people that are making money for Facebook, until they start to care, there's nothing anybody can do.
Do we have to be fatalistic about this and just throw our hands up and say, well, that's just the way the world we live in now?
Well, tell me what other option there is.
No.
I mean, you can build the best. I mean, people have tried to build alternatives to Twitter.
Yep.
Even though they hate Twitter, none of them have succeeded because people don't care enough to leave Twitter.
Yep.
As much as they whine and complain that it is, the average person doesn't care. And those are the bulk of the users.
Yes.
You know, you get the reporters every now and then who stand up and say, oh, I'm going to throw away my 50,000 followers because I'm going to make a point. And it's forgotten the next day.
That's
like,
right.
you know.
That's right. No one cares.
Nobody cares.
And I think that's the frustration for those of us who do care, is there's not enough of us versus the others. We no matter how much we write or tweet or talk or podcast about this stuff, you are 100% correct. The vast majority of people, users, advertisers, corporations, CEOs, don't care enough. It's going to take something incredibly drastic for this to happen. And usually what that drastic thing is someone dies. But even then, we've seen people have issues on Facebook that have caused their death, whether that be live suicides, live murders, whatever it might be. We don't care. We don't care.
Not only that, will seek out the videos.
Yes. Yeah, no kidding.
Right? There has to be a fundamental change in how we think in order for something to change.
Yep.
Now, I just don't see a time or a reason when that's going to happen, because you said it earlier. Well, this doesn't affect me. Why do I care?
Yep.
Well, okay. That can be a social thing, like, oh, this person died because they were picked up by a predator on Facebook, or on Twitter, or whatever the site is. Okay, well, that didn't happen to me. It's an awful story, but I don't really care.
Yep.
What else is happening on Facebook?
That's right. That's right. It's very frustrating. It's very, very sad to hear people not want to do anything about this.
But if you look at it from what you just said, that you do care. So the tendency is you'll follow other people that care because they say, I care and this is what I've done. And then somebody will follow you because you care. Yeah. And then it becomes this one big circle of people that care, who think that because they're all talking about it, that everybody is talking about it. But the fact is, that's wrong. Yep. Most people are not talking about it. Most people could care less. And then you have this one group of people that think that everybody cares.
Tim Cook also said at the Time 100 get-together, Apple never wanted to maximize user time. We've never been about that. He got a lot of pushback from various pundits on the web saying that he was being disingenuous. That no, of course Apple wants to maximize your time. Do you believe Cook when he says that?
Well, it depends on what. Maximize your time on what?
On the iPhone.
Oh.
He basically said that Tim Cook wants you to put down your iPhone.
I don't think Apple really cares, to be
honest. I know. That's the thing that's surprising of people writing this story. Didn't seem to understand. Apple's already got their money out of you.
Yeah, I don't think they care.
If you buy an iPhone and never use it, Apple's fine with that because they got your money. Apple makes
you don't. And if you want to trade it in and get a new one, great.
Even better.
I don't see it.
It's this weird lack of understanding of the fact that Apple's already made the vast bulk of their money off of you that they're going to make when you bought the iPhone. They're not going to make twice as much advertising to you. They're not going to make 3 times as much selling you stuff on the App Store. Apple will make money from you when you buy the phone, when you sign up for services, and those services you're paying for whether you use them or not. So Apple can very easily say, yes, put down your phone. Don't read that Apple News Plus. Don't watch Apple TV Plus. We're still getting your money. We're still banking that.
I mean, let's not mistake that the services are a huge amount of money for Apple.
Yep.
10 billion plus per quarter. So I mean, they do want you to buy that stuff, but iPhone sales are a lot more a quarter.
That's right.
So I think the people that are saying this are just wrong. Now, does Apple want your attention if you sign up to Apple News Plus or something like that? Well, you could make the argument again. You're paying for it. I don't give a shit if you read it or not.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter to me. But I'm sure that they're, as a company that's making services, they're trying to put out the best services that they can. So do they want you to pay for Apple News Plus and then read it? Sure. I mean, but not what these guys are saying. I don't agree.
Someone wrote, because for those folks who may not remember, it's a month, 30 days from the announcement of the Apple News services, Apple News Plus services. If you signed up on the same day, tomorrow is the day where your free trial ends and Apple will start charging you for it. So there's been a bunch of stories. I posted one up in the Loop of how to cancel Apple News Plus so you don't get dinged for the $10 or $13 here in Canada. folks are also doing the opposite, saying, hey, this is why I'm keeping Apple News Plus. One of the weird statements someone said was, the Apple News Plus magazine selection is wide and broad, but doesn't really cover the niche culture. Okay, first of all, you don't understand what the words wide and broad mean, but they did make an interesting point of the more specialized your interests are, the less likely Apple News Plus is to be of value to you. Do you agree with that?
Well, I guess it depends on what your interests are. I
mean, well, what I mean is, if you are a motorcyclist, there's 2 motorcycle magazines on Apple News Plus. But if you are a fan of British motorcycles from the 60s and 70s, there's 3 magazines available to you in the real world. None of those are available to you on News Plus. So that's what I mean by the more specialized you get, the less valuable Apple News Plus is.
Okay. I think you might be being a bit harsh considering the thing just started.
Yeah.
But, I told you how I use it, and I have, when it comes to reading and listening to podcasts, I have, a variety of things that I listen to. So, and read. So Apple News Plus has worked out well. So I don't know. It's going to get better. I mean, the first version of any app that's released isn't what it is now.
Yes, I understand that. But the problem is, and this is something else this article said, was that Apple wanted to get the service out to us as soon as possible before taking the time necessary to work out the kinks. Apple had a year to work out the kinks. And not only that, Apple removed some design elements out of the texture app and and they're not included in the News Plus app. So this excuse of, give Apple time to get it right doesn't wash with me. Plus, why should I pay Apple $10 a month US and wait for them to get the service correct? If the service doesn't work now, why should I keep paying for it and waiting and hoping, with no guarantee from Apple? Apple hasn't said a word about Apple News Plus and about the design elements, about the issues that people are having. So we don't know that Apple even cares. So I don't know that if in a month's time they'll fix things, 6 months' time, whatever it is, they'll fix things. In the meantime, I'm still paying for it. So why would we wait?
Nobody's forcing you to pay for it.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, these people are saying, no, keep your Apple News Plus subscription because it might get better in the future. I think it's an idiotic argument.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're not enjoying it, then you should give it up. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't argue that point with anybody, but I just tend to think that they're doing a lot better than what some people, including you, give them credit for. But, it's a personal thing. You don't like some of the things that are in there. You don't like the way it's laid out. I do.
Yep, exactly.
So I'll keep going.
I think the other thing is, I'm not sure if we mentioned this in last week's show, is that it depends, I believe, on how much of a news junkie you are and what you've been doing up until News Plus. So, for example, I am a information sponge. I'm an information junkie. So I've got probably 300 RSS feeds in my feed reader that I can check fairly quickly. It's set up the way I want it to. It's set up so that I only get the headlines, and I can click on one of the headlines and get a little bit of a blurb from the website, and then I can decide to go to the website on my own. News Plus gives me partial headlines and a big freaking graphic. Like, I don't want the graphic, Apple. Let me see just the headline. And that way I can read much faster, a lot more, and not have wasted space in my newsreader, which is what Apple News Plus is, taken up by a graphic I don't really need to see to decide whether I want to read the story. So I think that the heavier users of RSS feeds and news and that kind of stuff are probably less likely to enjoy the Apple News Plus experience than those who aren't information junkies. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I just saw a story on Apple News right now that might be of interest to you. Cover star Keanu Reeves on motorcycles, movie jail, and being a meme. There you go.
Yes, you're right, but I don't give a rat's ass about Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, well.
No, for today I go to Apple News Plus and I look at it. It's the magazine section, and it says magazines for you. And the first trending topic is People Magazine. I've never read People Magazine in my goddamn life. The next one was Today's Parent. The third one was Running Magazine. Come on!
Yeah. Well, yeah. On the maybe. Yeah. Okay.
I may have picked up. The only time I may have ever picked up a running magazine was to swat the dog. That's the only time I've ever picked up a running magazine. Or Today's Parent. Come on.
I have Time, Sports Illustrated, People,
Yep.
Vanity Fair.
It's really interesting, and I've heard this from other people too. It's really interesting the differences in the way people see things and the assumptions Apple makes. So, for example, my news is all Canadian news, and I understand Apple assuming that because of my location. But I, in fact, am less interested in Canadian news than I am in American and world news. I know that may sound bad, but I don't want to read stories from the Financial Post or HuffPost Canada or those kinds of things. And it's hard to manage these things so I don't see news sources that I don't have any interest in. And it's really weird to see Apple including some of these news sources in the Apple-focused and the iPhone-focused sections that are simply disreputable news sources. Not just in my opinion, but in a lot of people's opinion. Business Insider is not a good source for accurate Apple news. International Business Times is not a good source for accurate Apple news. And yet, that's what's filling up page upon page of the news that Apple says is for me. Apple is sending me these stories from these shitty websites.
Well, you're not having a good day.
Really not. Really not. The Apple Watch launched 4 years ago today. I remember when the Apple Watch launched, I thought it was such a cool, neat idea. I really wanted one, but I couldn't justify spending all that money, Canadian, all that money on a watch when I wasn't a fitness person or the kind of person that Apple seemed to be targeting it at. 4 years later, do you still wear your Apple Watch every day?
Every day.
Do you still use it in the same kinds of ways you did 4 years ago?
I don't think so.
Because we all made a big deal about how much weight you lost with the Apple Watch in very passive ways. The Apple Watch didn't weigh 50 pounds and make you lift your arms all day long to lose the weight. You lost the weight in a very natural, very organic kind of way with the Apple Watch helping you, correct?
Correct.
Is it still doing that? Is it still that device that's useful in that way?
You have to work with the technology, with the Apple Watch in order to make that stuff happen. And I'm not working with it right now. I am actually beating it down to get out of my way right now. So
what do you mean?
Well, I'm life gets in the way and things happen, but I still use the Apple Watch every day. I still wear it every day. I still look, rings and all that kind of stuff. I still every day.
A very kind Your Mac Live listener sent me his Series 3 Apple Watch, which is a great Apple Watch. By the way, it's on sale at Amazon for like $200 now. American. It's a great buy if you have the money. And I wore it for probably the first 2 months constantly, every day, all the time. I wanted to get sort of a baseline view of what my activity level was on an average day. And I'll tell you, it was pretty much zero. It was pretty much nothing. I mean, I had to work. I don't think I closed any rings the first week or 2 weeks with my normal schedule. But then I started going out and specifically using the Apple Watch to remind me to get up, to exercise, to do the things the Apple Watch is good for. And I really liked it. And now I don't wear the Apple Watch on a daily basis, but when I go out, I put my Apple Watch on to track my steps and the activity and heartbeat and those kinds of things.
Why don't you wear it?
Because there's no need for me to wear it when I'm sitting here at a desk for 10 hours a day.
Well, you can still get up. You can still move.
But I am completely, maybe you're the same, maybe you're not, I'm completely immune to the Apple Watch telling me to do things. Hey, Shawn, you're close to completing your move goal. I'm not going to move any more than I already am. You know, you need to get up 2 more times to close that ring. I don't care. The rings have no effect on me. I don't care to close the rings. It doesn't matter to me if I close the rings or not. So therefore, wearing the watch is a waste of time. As MacMan says, I just don't like wearing my watch while at home. That's true. That's true of my big giant Tissot. The first thing I did when I came home was take it off. But the last thing I did before I left was put it on. So I enjoyed wearing a watch while I was out and about. And same with the Apple Watch. When I go out, when Melissa and I go for a walk or I go fly the drone.
Where did you go in the boat? When you were out in the boat.
Out in the boat.
Where did you go?
And because the notifications are just a curiosity to me, I don't get many notifications on the Apple Watch. I'll get messages from Melissa. That's pretty much the only ones I would ever get. I don't need to have the watch on me at all times when I'm sitting at home because I'm in front of a computer or my iPhone's within arm's reach. I think that's the other part of it too. My iPhone is never further away from me than whatever the length of my arm is, 3 feet.
Yeah.
So I really don't need the Apple Watch for any kind of notifications or phone calls or music listening or anything else like that. It's only the only real use I found for it was in tracking and informing me about exercise.
All right. Well,
but I am curious. Like I said, I am curious how if you're using it in the same way. And folks who are listening to the show, I'd love to hear from you guys too. Are you 4 years later still using your Apple Watch the way it is? How many times you upgraded? Or if you're a new Apple Watch user, what's the reasoning for getting the new Apple Watch? I'd be curious to know with the new Apple Watch about the EKG features and the fall detection and that kind of stuff. I don't need that. It's more of a curiosity thing. I'm not going to spend $400 just to satisfy my curiosity.
Fair enough.
There was something else that was going on. Shoot, I lost the thread of it. So you're not going to cancel Apple News. You intend to continue to pay for it. You're happy with Apple News.
I'm going to keep it.
Did you find yourself having to do a lot of management of it when it first started, or was the basics of it a good fit for you?
Well, just the way that I use it. Yeah, I mean, it was fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be improved? Sure. I mean, would I like to be able to search and, do some stuff in there? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see how people are reacting to it. And I'm not saying Apple News is bad for everyone. I'm saying for me in my use case and for the $13 a month, to me, it doesn't have that much value to it, considering the way I already get a lot of my news. But other folks like you, like I said, I'm not saying that you're wrong in the way that you use it. I don't like the way Apple presents the information to me, and I'd like to see it much, much more specialized. But I doubt very much Apple's ever going to go to that level of RSS feed type specialization.
Right. Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Folks, been talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. He has his own podcast called The Dalrymple Report. He does each and every week with Dave Mark from The Loop. Check it out on the iTunes store. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Talk to you next week. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. I managed to get through that whole conversation with Jim without ever once mentioning his beloved Boston Bruins, who were in the NHL playoffs. So happy about that because I hate the Bruins. I always hated the Bruins. I always will hate the Bruins. There's just no other way around it. It's just who I am as a human being. When we come back, we're going to do our starting point photography segment. We're going to talk about the student critique of the photos that they took in Lisbon last month. All that and hopefully much more coming up. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back to the... Oh, let me stop that. Stop it. Welcome back to Your Mac Life. This is our starting point photography segment, joined as always with my lovely wife, Melissa. Hello.
Hello.
Did you make omelet for the boys?
Nope.
What did you make for the boys?
Leftover noodles and Parmesan cheese.
For those who don't know, our sons, stepsons, my stepsons, her son.
I had them like I, gave birth to them.
You just pick them up off the street. Melissa makes dinner. I usually make dinner. I like making dinner. But on Wednesdays, because I'm here, Melissa runs out during our gym segment and makes omelets.
No, tonight I did noodles.
What noodles?
Leftover cheesy noodles.
You said those were for me.
I did. That's right.
Jesus.
I gave them your leftover dinner.
So last month, we went to Lisbon, Portugal. Beautiful place. If you're looking for a vacation, go. All right. It was warm. It was sunny the entire time. A surprisingly large number of tourists were there. I wouldn't want to go. I've always said I'd never go anywhere in Europe in January and in the summertime. But even in March, there was a lot more tourists than I expected. Not too many, but still a lot more than I had expected. So I think maybe May might be the latest I'd go to Lisbon.
Oh, it was getting too busy for me by the end of the week that we were there.
Yeah,
but I'm not a crowd person. I don't do well in crowds.
So yeah, don't ever go to Europe in the summertime. It's insane. Unless you go to some obscure Romania kind of thing.
It's funny, MacMan says he was ready to start strangling the tourists.
Yes.
You were a tourist, MacMan.
No.
I was not a tourist.
We were travelers.
Okay.
There's a difference between a tourist.
Oh, these other people are tourists, but we're not.
But we're not. So I posted up on YouTube a video of our 9 days there. You can go to YouTube and do a search for that. Do a search. Shawn King, and it'll pop up. Or send me an email and I'll send you the links to the videos. They're little short videos, 2-3 minutes, easy to get through. But then I also posted up a video of the student photography. And some of these guys took some great shots. I don't know how much I contributed to the quality of the photos. I like to think I had some small part. I like to think that the location made a huge difference. That you go to places like this, and it really inspires you to take better pictures. You have beautiful scenery and beautiful light, and really neat things, interesting things to take pictures of. One of the quotes I've always loved about photography is, "You want to become a better photographer? Stand in front of interesting stuff." And to a certain degree, that's true. If you stand in front of things that are interesting visually, you'll get better pictures of those things. So there's lots and lots of stuff, lots of scenery, lots of expansive views from miradors, from sightseeing viewpoints, from castles, from the top of elevators that you can get in Lisbon. So definitely, if you really want to go to a place that's got some beautiful shots, a beautiful scenery, you want to go to Lisbon. So I'm just going to go through some of these photos that folks took. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to, Melissa, I hope you don't mind, I have to block up
No, I don't mind.
your face while I do this.
You never asked me before, but no, it's okay.
Well, I don't want it to be a surprise for you. So this is a shot taken by Dave D. I love, this is one of those shots that I wish I'd been there when Dave was there, because, Melissa, what did Dave do wrong? What could Dave have done better?
Well, I think I would have moved around a little bit so that the statue was encapsulated by the sky instead of the building.
The other aspect I noticed was up here with the, see it, Dave didn't capture very much of the water spout.
No.
So it's hard to see on first glance that this is a fountain.
Mm-hmm.
I would have either...
Could be a cloud or a jet stream up there.
Yeah. I would have either angled the camera up more and gotten more of that water spout, or stepped back a bit and got more of the water spout. I like the shot.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
I like
that's
the idea
beautiful.
of the shot.
Very much.
There's another one of Dave's shot. One of these I love, I've always loved just in general, is doors. I love doors.
Oh, you love Ireland then.
Exactly. Yeah. What has Dave done? What could Dave have done better in this shot?
could Dave have done? Well, he could have zoomed in on the door a little bit more, although the tiles are beautiful as a border, but just a bit more.
I think Dave was caught. And Dave, correct us. You're in the RC chat room. Correct us if you disagree with what we're saying. I think Dave was caught in between two shots. If he'd zoomed right in closer, looks like there's some great detail in that door. But look at the top of the image. He's cut the top of the door off and the bottom of the door, the lintel at the top and the bottom step at the. And for some reason, to me, it cuts the door off, and it's not as pleasing
Looks
in composition.
a bit stunted. Yes.
Dave D says this is a bad crop. Yes, this is a bad crop.
I love the doors as well, as you'll see.
This is a shot I
Where
absolutely
was that, you
I know.
guys?
Where was
I'm jealous.
I didn't even see this. I have no idea where this is.
Where was it?
That was one of the problems with Lisbon, is that there is no street map of where the street art is. Or you can't find. You just have to wander around till you find this.
I got shots of street art that Shawn was right there, but he didn't.
He's
He's like, "Where did you get that?" And I said, "You were right behind me."
That's right. But I love this shot. This is a really good shot. There's not much I could do to this shot. The only thing I would have hoped to have done, and it sounds funny, I wish there was more colorful laundry up here. This laundry,
it's kind of drab. Come on.
Yeah, but there's nothing Dave could have done about that. Absolutely, but I love this shot, Dave. Come on. This is one of those shots that I'm not sure why he took. I guess I understand why he took it, but because the guy's wearing a black jacket and the sun is so high, there's no detail in the center of the photo, in his beard or his jacket. So to me, this image just really didn't do a whole lot.
I felt
for me.
It's kind of, to me, I understand because these people were everywhere selling sunglasses.
Yep.
But there were much more interesting characters or shots that you could have gotten aside from that one.
And for me, the sunglass thing just pissed me off. Dude, I'm wearing $200 Ray-Bans. Get away from me, okay? I'm already wearing
I have sunglasses on, dude.
I'm looking at you through sunglasses.
These ones look much better.
Don't ask me if I want to buy sunglasses. Go away. That's always bugged me about places like that with the people.
Okay, Dave says he has a better additive. Or maybe he means the art.
It's another one of those shots that I can see what his thought process was. I just wish the shot had been different. This guy with the funny little hat on, little weird little hat, I would rather have seen him take the picture from in front of these two guys. Now, this is a street photograph that not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to stand in front of two guys and take a picture of them. So you stand off to the side and get the shot. And Dave got a couple of these shots from full-on side from people, and they just didn't do anything for me because they were from the side.
Yeah, I don't like this one.
I think if it had been in front of the two guys and you could see the face of the guy in the funny hat and his gesticulations as he's talking to this guy, maybe that would
I
be
see what Dave would, if he had have gone around to the side, to the right there.
Yeah, I think that.
Although then you may not have gotten the lovely marketplace stuff behind.
True.
I will say one of my favorites of... maybe we're coming up to it. Never mind.
Another really interesting shot. The problem with the shot is that there's no focal point to it, that I would have gotten down low and focused just on one of the things in the center, middle center, and then blurred out everything else. Dave has got a good DSLR camera. If he had shot this at f1.8 or f4 and gotten a really nice blurry background.
We don't need the background there.
Yeah, from a lower angle. You don't need this background of the clothes back there. So from a lower angle, focused on a point here and everything else blurry in the background, would have been really, really cool. I think the shot that you're talking about is this one.
I love this shot that Dave took. I think that's very interesting.
And the same for this shot. I love the shot. I love the composition of the shot.
I do too.
I just wish that, say he had picked this mug in the center, focus on that, and then done another shot, taken this shot, but then increase your f-stop to f1.8 or 4 or a much, much wider f-stop and blurred out everything else. I guess it might have been even.
This was the Thieves Market, shot. Monty.
Yes,
you would have loved it.
It was a really cool place. Hang on. This is a shot that's a beautiful. A beautiful shot, Dave, and I understand the difficulties he had in it. I think this is the Museum de Azulejos chapel that Dave was telling us about. And it's a beautiful shot. The only downside is because you've got that bright spot dead center in the photo, your edges are much darker. There's still detail in the pews on the side, but you couldn't do much about this shot. I think this is probably the best he could have gotten under these conditions. Now, in editing, you could go into Lightroom or any number of other apps and brighten up the pew area. Not too much, because you don't want to distract from that center altar, but maybe made them a little less dark. But it is a beautiful shot. I really like what David's captured there. These are what I call memory shots. They're fun images. Mm-hmm. This is Dave's lovely wife, Anne, who was just a blast to hang out with. And these freaking massive...
I think they're aloe vera.
Aloe vera plants.
These
things were as tall as I am.
Yes.
They were huge.
Like from the dinosaur age.
But I love the joy in Anne's face on this shot. The only downside is that it's all green, so she's almost lost in it. You have to really kind of pay attention to her. But good light, good shadow, good composition. She's not dead center. I think this was a really good shot. And here's a shot we were talking about before. Another one of those images that I was there and I didn't see this.
Well, you wouldn't go down the hill. Like, when are you going to go down the hill?
Shush, I might have gone down the hill.
I'm sorry, you got to come back up.
I might have gone down the hill.
Okay, fine.
But Melissa and I were sitting like right here in the grass, and my brain never turned around to look behind me, which is something I teach students to do.
I did look behind me, but it was just very close.
Yeah.
I wasn't as far as where Dave had gone.
But I love the idea of we're just walking away from the thing that you're at to get a better angle on the shot. We think we have to be there, but sometimes the shot is better when you walk away from it. So I think this is a great shot, Dave. And yes, the sky really is an insane
the sky
blue.
is really that blue.
This, Dave, is possibly my favorite shot that
I
you
love
took.
that.
I absolutely love this shot. I love everything about this shot. The focal point of the candles in the center. The fact that not all the candles are lit. Mm-hmm. Did you blow some out, Dave, to get this shot? Because I think that if all the candles were lit, it wouldn't be as nice.
No, there wouldn't be a space at the end of the photograph, if you know what I mean.
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I love that. Yeah, Dave, my soul is forfeit.
Yeah, really.
That's right. But I love what the shot represents. I love the colors, the light, the shadow, everything he captured about this. I think it's a beautiful
indeed.
shot, Dave. Congratulations. That's a great shot. Now, Dave and Anne went inside the convent de Carmos. This is a convent that, in the devastating earthquake of 1755, the roof of the convent collapsed. The sides, the walls of the convent stayed up, but the roof collapsed in on itself. And they've left the convent in that shape. They're fixing up the walls, and things happen inside the convent. They'll have concerts and art exhibits and things like that. But Dave and Anne, I'm going to assume Anne, went inside. Now, there's two problems with this shot. Melissa, can you see what they are?
Well, the arches are cut off.
Yes.
At the sides, which I would love to see. There's no depth. It's the cloudless sky. Well, though we couldn't do anything about the cloudless sky.
The cloudless sky hurt a lot of our shots. It's funny,
crooked.
we think this bright blue sky is a wonderful thing to take pictures of, but in fact, it's not.
It gets a bit boring after a while.
Because it doesn't give you that, we talk about in the class, that foreground, middle ground, background. And with a straight blue sky like this, there's really no depth to the background.
No, and what Monty says is right. And what am I looking at? Am I looking at so the arches on the side are cut off. Yep. But actually zooming in to just the end would be quite beautiful with the just the one arch. Yep, possibly. Yeah. The other thing is, and you can't see it on this one very well. Let me crop in a bit. Look in the lower right. Got someone's head. Yeah, is that a head?
That's a head.
I can't see. I wasn't sure what that was. Yeah, the head is.
That's the head down. And finally, for Dave shots, I like this one. I think you got to do more work on it to get it to be what you want. I like the idea of this. I don't know where he found the clouds. I don't know where the hell the clouds. Did you put the clouds in there afterwards, Dave?
No, the clouds were there.
I like the idea of this shot. I would like to see some more texture to it, some more grain or grunge or something to it to give it a little more depth. It also feels a little crooked. Am I wrong in thinking that? Yes, it is.
I thought the convent one was a little crooked.
A little crooked. Could be. I like where he was going with it. I like where your mind's at. Because he's in the chat room, we'll do MacMan's next. MacMan got some great shots. This is a really neat shot, MacMan, because it feels very much like the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. If you look at it very quickly, on other photos you see of, this is the April 25th bridge, it's called. Liberation Day for the Portuguese. Real quick, it's got the same shape of the Golden Gate. I think it's shorter than the Golden Gate. Same general color of the Golden Gate. So real quick, it looks like the Golden Gate Bridge. But I love he did this. His horizon is in dead center, and even though we've got again the unfortunate boring blue sky, I think he did a great job on this shot. Here's the shots that the original. Come on. How am I double clicking? So this shot Dave took, and we talked about it in the Friday critique, and I was so happy to hear Dave tell the story. So in the original critique of this, I said I loved the shot. I love, again, the horizon not dead center. He's got this is the one of the towers of the National Cathedral is over here on the left, and I even like the construction crane there because you can't do anything about it. But what I didn't like was this railing in the foreground. This railing in the foreground, that leading line kind of distracts away from the photo. And so Dave went back and took this shot, and it looks like, Dave, you stepped maybe 10 feet to the left of the original shot, and this is such a better picture. This is so much better of an image. He's got the exact same subject matter in pretty much the same placement, same horizon, same blue sky, same ground, but this is a million times better of a shot. The previous shot could be just a tourist shot. Oh, I was in Lisbon, this is what I saw. This is a shot you could print off. I think this could be a wall shot. I think this is a shot that's good enough to go up on someone's wall. So I think that's a fantastic shot. These shots you have to take, and they're easy to take. But these shots of these wonderful arches, they for those folks who have seen our pictures, there is it's called the Praco de Camerca, and there's a big arch. And Melissa took some pictures of the arch. I'll show you later. There's a great big arch, but underneath the arch are these walkways. These walkways are beautiful. I would love to have gone back in the evening to shoot these arches at night too. And the other thing I wanted to do, and what Dave didn't do here, not knocking Dave on that, is I would like to take this shot sitting down to get a bit of a different angle. Remember we talked about this in the class, get a different perspective.
Well, and one person with something bright on walking through and would be nice too.
The other thing I would do if we had a chance to go back and do this again is I'd have you standing behind one of these arches and casting a shadow.
Right.
I think a shadow in the first arch or the second arch might look kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Belém Tower. This is a great shot that Dave worked. This is one of those shots that you work, that you know which I think, Dave, I'm speaking on your behalf, so correct me if I'm wrong. This is one of the shots that you work at. You think, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to walk down to that spot. I want to get the sun, because if he had shot this with the sun in view, it would have blown the light out and it wouldn't have been a very good shot. But having the sun as a little bit of a halo, it's easy to do. You just angle yourself in your camera so the sun is just barely being covered by something, a tree branch or a sign or in this case, the castle, the tower ramparts. And it gives a really neat effect. I really like that shot. That's another one I think could be printed off. And here it is, bar none, the best shot of the week of a sunrise, as we've since discovered. That's even more incredible. You went up there. This was in a Mirador or a viewpoint that is 20 minutes away from the hotel by tram.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, you got on
in the busyness. Yeah,
you got on a tram. You went up to the spot. You waited for that sun.
Oh, we walked.
You walked up there. Even better. You're incredible. And just got this wonderful, beautiful image. Dave, how many shots did you take? How many of a series is this? I got to believe,
with his iPhone.
This is an iPhone shot?
He took it with his phone.
Damn. Even better. And again, proof that it's not the camera.
It's shot on iPhone.
It's you. It's your knowledge. It's your desire to work the shot, to create the shot, to have hopefully, Dave, you had a mental image of the shot. I think this is a great image. This is another one that's definitely.
It's great.
Definitely printable.
Lovely.
Definitely printable. And finally for Dave, we have this shot. Another one of the very cool plazas that they have in Lisbon. I don't know how clearly, Melissa, you can see this, but what is your critique of this shot?
Well, I would crop it a lot more. I would bring it into more just the central building there, and you can see the highlighted pylons at the end. Yep. I don't think we need what's in the foreground so much.
Yeah, the foreground is the issue here for me too. These two planters and this one of these electric
irrelevant.
Scooters. You either walk forward to have those planters by your side, or you still walk forward, or you get down lower at the level of the planters, right there at the right next to the planters. I like those green lights along the ground there. I think if Dave was
low.
I think if Dave was literally sitting on the ground there, that would look even better. But definitely the planters in the foreground take away from this particular. We had another couple who joined us who aren't listeners to Your Mac Life. I know, shocking. They were Deborah and Mark. They were from Bakersfield, California. Lovely couple.
Oh, Deborah was so funny because we were all, okay, if you ever come up to the coast, or we're happy to come Pacific Northwest. Yep. And Deb goes, and if you're thinking of coming to Bakersfield, just don't. It was so funny.
Bakersfield, California is an acknowledged shithole.
It's a hole. It really is.
You don't ever want to go to Bakersfield.
But they're lovely people,
yes,
and they've got their lovely little house and their dogs and their cats. They're very sweet people.
They went up, Deborah and her husband Mark went up to I don't remember the name of the castle, the Moorish castle.
It's the Moorish one,
Central.
Yeah.
And she got this really neat shot.
I love that shot.
Showing the steepness of these stairs. It's a really good shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the texture of the rock and the stone, that kind of stuff. I think it's a really
shadow,
really good shadow.
And it's fabulous.
Yeah, I think it was a great shot that Deborah took. And she took this with her iPhone, if I remember
correctly. She did.
And here's handsome Mark, her husband. Great guy.
I like that
and
one.
This is obviously his go-to pose, because every photo that he's in has this. But she did this in black and white.
Yeah.
I like the fact
I
that
love
she
black
did it in
and
black
white.
and white. The only downside of this one is I think I would have cropped it tighter, because Mark is the important aspect of the photo.
I would have gone into
exactly. I would have. I can do it here real quick. I would have cropped it kind of like that, so that we get
even a bit more at the edge there, on the left.
On the left, yes. Even bring it in some, just to give more focus. Her husband. And this was a lovely shot. I talked to her about this shot, about how she composed it and what she was thinking when she took it.
Great shot.
This is the same Mirados that MacMan took the sunrise shot from. Same basic location. There's obviously a cruise ship port down on the water there, and there's these wonderful tiles along this walkway. And I love the fact when I was talking to Deb about this, she composed this shot. She saw the shot. She moved around to get the shot that she wanted. Didn't want to distract. She didn't want the guy looking at her. So she was like kind of stealthy and walking around, so she wouldn't disturb him or have him look at her. And she got this very lovely shot. The only downside of it is there is a tree branch on the left-hand side at his arm. That would be the only downside. And maybe, but the problem is, you know that if she had walked more to the right to get rid of the tree branch, he would have seen her and maybe not been.
Yeah, and the angle would have all changed.
It would also.
I like the pylon at the very front, at the very right there.
Exactly. It also would have brought that pylon on the right more into play. Maybe she didn't want that. So it's a minor criticism of it, but it's a lovely composition. That shot. Again, another go-to pose of Mark. And again, I drop it tighter. I like
that in the foreground.
The foreground of the rock, the bricks, the whatever this is. You can see in the bottom of the photo too, the kind of tile that they use a lot of in Lisbon. There's painstakingly inserted.
It's not even like tile. It's just like chunks.
Chunks of rock. Yeah.
Yeah. Shawn kept saying, pick that up and put it in your pocket, because
right.
they would have loose bits of it around. Pick it up.
That's right. So it's another lovely shot. She took her husband Mark. And this is a great, funny little, wonderful tourist shot. We hate tourism tours. And there's Mark being goofy. And finally from Deborah, another nice black and white shot. And this is another one that she posed. Now this one, I think might be a little too tight because she's losing the top of the arch.
I wouldn't want to lose the top of that arch. That's the side of the convent, because I took a photograph of that door as well.
And we got a drone shot of you sitting at the door. And normally I tell people to get in closer, but in this case, I love this because it shows the scale of that door. How massive that door is. Mark's about 5'8", 5'9", and it's a huge, huge door. So I really like that. I really like the shot in general. Love that it's in black and white. But
she needed to go up for. She needed to go to get the rest of it in there.
Right. Yeah, the whole door.
Yes, like Monty says, down low is shooting up to get the top of that arch.
That's
I
right.
agree. The arches just I couldn't get enough of the arches everywhere.
Now here are Mark shots from Lisbon. This is going to be my favorite cutesy little shot. The sky kind of failed him on this one, but for some reason I love this little scooter sitting there with the background of all the restaurants along the right-hand side going off in the distance. Everything's in focus, which is kind of cool, and you have this funny little old scooter.
That's a great mood shot. I
love
it.
It is. It's fun. It's playful. It's a really, really nice shot. One of my favorites. And then again, the Blend Tower is another example of seeing something no one else saw. It may not be a great shot, but it's a different angle.
Yes, it just shows you that if you walk around and really not just go, oh, there's a Blend Tower, click,
yeah, click, and
you can get something interesting.
Yeah. So it may not be a great shot, but I love the fact.
I would have stepped in to try and get the tower at the right there without a pole in front of it.
Yeah, but he may not have been able to because of the water. He may not be able to stand on it. But yeah, I like the idea of what he was going for. This is a shot of the Discovery Monument. Come on. What's wrong with this shot?
Well, I don't really know. I'm supposed to look. I would have walked around and gotten them from the side.
There's no faces.
No, I mean, I'm kind of like a jumble of sculpture.
It just doesn't do anything for me because there's no context.
Am I looking at the river? Am I looking at the people?
This is the Geronimus Monastery. It's called the style of this is called Manueline, after the King Manuel.
It's just magnificent.
Typical
inside.
Typical of Gothic cathedrals, but this one is a different style to it. I love the ornate work on this stuff. The only thing I would do is I would like to have Deborah or you at those doors.
Otherwise, it's very. I like the symmetry that he's created in that shot.
I really do like the shot, but I would like some scale.
And just a bright color there or something.
And you're always gonna be careful about photobombing. There are times you just gotta wait for the idiot to get out of the way.
Oh my
All right?
goodness.
Just if someone being a doofus behind, just wait for the doofus to go away, and then, sorry, Mark. Mark trying to take a picture of his lovely wife in front of with the statue. And I gotta be a jerk behind him. Sorry, Mark. One of the I'm a street photographer by nature and inclination. I really like this shot that Mark took of the streets were very steep. But I love we all love the laundry hanging from the
there were
the
bras
windows
and panties and all sorts of things that were telling about what was who lived there. And
this is one of those shots where I kind of know what he was going for. I wish he'd gotten lower on this one again.
Sorry, what is that in there?
Doggy.
Oh, it's a dog.
A little dog.
Oh, that was at the market.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think this would have been a better shot if he'd gotten a little closer and gotten down at the dog's level. Mark took the most inventive shot. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but I love the shot. This is at the train station when we were going to Sintra, and I'd love for Mark to tell me whether or not this was intentional or accidental, because you can do it both ways. If your settings are incorrect, you can get this blur by accident. So if you have a low shutter speed, say 1 over 100 or 100th of a second, and you're focused on say someone on the other side of the platform or the ground, that train comes through, you'll get this blur. Or you can do it intentionally by doing it. But I love whether he did it on purpose or by accident. Shot. This might be the best framing shot that we got from Mark. I love the way he's got this set up. That's the Penna Palace. They're obviously at the Moorish castle while taking this shot, and he framed it up with the arch or with the
I tried to do that at South George that night. I tried to frame up or have that feeling of that. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's really a nice shot.
I would have gone a little bit closer.
Possibly, yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. I like.
That's right, Monty. But with the train, if it was an accident, it's not any longer.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lovely shot of his wife, Deborah.
That's lovely.
And I love the thing I love most about this one is that he broke the rules. The idea that you're supposed to leave space, and this is the rule we talked about too. You're supposed to leave space in front of the person so it gives them a sense of motion. But because he didn't do that in this shot, and it actually turned out better. He's focused on her. The background is wonderfully blurry. He's got a really nice blur back there. You can kind of see what it is. You can see water. You can see sky. You can see buildings. See a church over her left shoulder. And she's not looking directly in the camera. She's got a beautiful smile on, looking away. I think this is a really, really nice shot. This is a shot you'd print off. I think this is definitely a wonderful vacation photo that you would print off. Again, this is in the Geronimus Monastery. There's all kinds of these wonderful arches that I love. These arches. I love these Baroque, flying buttresses on like Notre Dame. There's a particular name for these kind of arches. I can't remember what the hell they are. But this is a really good use of framing. He's framed the tower of the Geronimus Monastery in one of the arches, but he's also given us room to view down to the left, more arches and more architectural detail. I think it's a really, really good shot. And here's a shot he took that I disagree with completely. This shot in black and white, I don't like at all.
Yeah.
Because the light there was so beautiful, so golden.
Stunning place.
You can see from the previous picture the color of the stonework in this. And this, to me, doesn't work as a black and white shot. There are other shots that do work as black and white, but this one in particular, because of the subject matter, doesn't work.
I wouldn't have shot any of that place in black and white.
Yeah.
The color was so subtle and soft and beautiful.
And now, the hard critique. My wife.
Oh, I like being critiqued.
She says that now.
I do. I like it. You learn from critique.
I'm teasing. So these are some of the shots. I love this shot that Melissa took. You posted this up on Instagram, and you were having fun playing around with merging the photos.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside of it is, and it's not a major downside, it's only because I was there and I know the story. I know these 3 shots aren't connected thematically. They're not the same building.
Oh, no. The same trip, the same day.
Yes.
But no.
But if you didn't know that, you would make the connection that
different places.
That the two of the 3 are, or one of the 3 isn't of the same place.
No, it's in Sintra.
I love the idea that you took 3 different photos. Normally what people would do is they would have a 4 shot. They would all be square. But you got 1 shot long on the left-hand side and 2 squares. I think that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You use the image. The image itself is a long image. So you put that on the left-hand side, and then you have 2 squares on the right-hand side. It was a great way.
It's
a great
a
way of
beautiful
doing
place,
it.
that
It really
place.
was. So here's the arch. Melissa I was talking before, and again, underneath the arch is where we showed those pictures. And so tell people about this shot.
Well, Shawn, of course, when we sort of walked down there this day, and there it was. We were finally seeing the arch. It was very exciting, and we stood there, and Shawn said, "Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to do a sort of stepping to get the sun, just almost like MacMahon did with Belém, just to get the sun just there." And that's what I did.
Took a couple of tries to get it just right, but I love. Oh, sorry, I don't have the audience can't see the top of the shot. There we go. So you guys can see just the very peak of the shot and can see what Melissa has done with the sun. And that was with your iPhone.
Oh yes, all my shots are with my iPhone.
And again, unfortunately, our sky is kind of boring, and we can't do anything about the wire.
Yeah, the lines are everywhere.
The lines are
everywhere.
Not a whole lot you can do about those.
Yeah.
Except, as Melissa found out later, there is. We'll talk about that. It's another shot you took where you merged.
Well, it's the same artist, as you can see, but they're quite far away from each other, these portraits or whatever you want to call them. Caricatures.
The only downside is it's not even.
No, it's crooked. Yeah, it went crooked.
No, not crooked. There's more of this one than there's of this one.
Oh, I did that deliberately because
Why?
of well, first of all, I needed to get the whole big face there of the complete guy. And then whatever was on the either side of the door just wasn't looking quite right. I had to kind of bring it in a bit more. But no, I see your point. It looks a bit odd.
It looks a bit. What you could have done to fix this is in whatever software you used had a border between the 2 photos.
Yes, you can do that in the software.
A white border or a black border to give folks the
delineation between the 2.
That's right. This is a wonderful shot of the Belém Tower. Wonderful. This is a great example of framing the shot, both top and bottom. I don't know if you noticed the shadow in the bottom.
Oh yes,
I
did.
Good.
I did.
And this was as we were walking towards it. I saw the trees. And I told everybody, "Hey, everyone, come on over here and look for that framing shot. That's use the trees as a framing mechanism."
Mm-hmm.
And you use both the top framing and the bottom framing for the shot. It was really, really nice. And again, a beautiful iPhone shot.
Yeah, no, I love my iPhone for shooting with.
This was the out of the balcony of our first hotel room. We had to move because it was fairly noisy. But I love the shot because it shows how busy it was.
This got the most likes out of, not that, I don't know, that doesn't mean everything, but I got so many likes on this shot from when we first got there. Someone said it looked like a movie set.
Yeah. There's a subway entrance down here. There's you see the tram up here. There's a guy selling photos over here. There's a little newsstand kiosk over here. Other rooms. I really, really like this shot.
I do too.
it's almost busy. It's not too busy.
I know, right?
It's busy enough to be interesting visually, but not too busy that you can't. Your eye can find all kinds of things to look at.
It's the story, for
not,
sure.
but not too much.
I took a bunch of them, and then I took a long time editing this extraneous stuff out of this one. So, yeah, believe it or not.
No, I think it's a great. Another example of a shot that Melissa saw that I didn't see, even though it was right there. How much editing did you do on this one?
Not very much.
Yeah, you don't have to when you have light like this. When you have places that are
just glowed.
Exactly, yeah. Just from the inside.
This was I was by myself, and I walked around, and then I met up. Oh, then I went and I met up with you around the other side.
Okay. So while I was shooting the drone and getting in trouble for it.
While you were shooting the drone and getting in trouble, that's right. I'm glad I wasn't there.
Surprising.
I walked into the drama of it all.
Yeah, no kidding. Surprising no one that Shawn got in trouble.
Oh, the architecture was stunning, Monty.
Yeah, it was.
Just stunning.
Beautiful.
And it was a Britishman, actually, that designed that.
This is another great street shot of Lisbon. I just love these narrow, windy streets. You got a great leading line there.
Oh,
of the cars on
okay.
one
I was going to
side.
get rid of that one.
No.
I think I did.
No.
Yeah.
The cars are leading you down that path. Again, you can't really about the electrical line going across. You've got the laundry hanging off one side, these beautiful flower pots on the other side. This is, I think, a printable one.
Oh.
I think this is one that we could definitely print in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a lovely street scene.
It's funny.
I would.
I deleted that one. I thought, I guess that's kind of boring.
If we were gonna print it, I would use software to get rid of that line, the electrical line. In the middle. It's the only thing that's.
Yeah.
Maybe the telephone, maybe the TV antennas at the top, but otherwise.
The laundry was just it's amazing.
This is another great example of the power of editing in photography and the advantage of the iPhone when it comes to this stuff, that you can edit right there while you're sitting right there. Mm-hmm. You may not have done it, you may have done it, but within seconds. So Melissa took this shot. Tell us about the shot.
Oh, well, I was just enamored with this door. The convent, there's something about this convent. I'll be always forever sad that I didn't get to go inside. I don't know what to say. I just needed to take a picture of this door.
But when you took the picture, you then looked at it and decided to edit it. Why?
Because I'm getting I love black and white, and I wanted the texture to pop out more, I suppose.
The other thing I noticed is that the photo is crooked.
Yes, it is crooked. You're right.
You have the Shawn problem of your eyes being
wrong.
I was. So there is your edit.
That's my edit.
I love the edit.
Oh.
The sorry, it looks like she's cut the top off. She hasn't, folks. Let me just squish this in. You guys can see the whole thing. She didn't cut the top off or the bottom off. You straighten the photo up.
I did.
Do you use Snapseed or just the regular edit app?
Just regular.
And using the regular edit app, did you do it in black and white?
I played with this one a lot. Yes, I just used a regular.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was hoping, to tell you the truth, I was wanting to go in and give the door just the door color.
Yes.
But I couldn't. It was too bright, or it wasn't what I wanted, so I left it that way.
And this is a shot that wouldn't have worked if there was a person there. I don't know why I say that. Yeah. I don't think it would have worked as well.
It's like a standalone old. It's so old, and beautiful place.
Now,
sepia. I tried sepia.
For those folks who were here off the top of the show, I told you to remember the shot. Here's the shot I was talking about, and I wanted you to remember it because there's all over Lisbon. There's these tram lines. If you see these tracks at the bottom of the image, at the top of the image, you're always going to have tram lines. And the tram lines in this case were ruining. At night, the blue sky was nice. It sets this off really, really well.
Yeah.
But the tram lines ruined the night sky shot. And what did you use to get rid of the tram lines?
Oh, so Shawn, because I love this shot, and we did do a lot of wandering around at night, so it's kind of special. Shawn taught me. We went into, I believe we used Snapseed to edit the lines out. Yeah. And I really just loved the way it turned out when the lines were gone. Because The lines, I didn't realize how much they distracted
You
from
can
it.
still see the lines if you look at the photo real close, but the lines are
Yeah.
against the building, so they're harder to see. They're less obvious when they're against the building. When they were out in the blue sky, it was really, really obvious.
It was.
And it did distract from the photo.
It did. It
So,
did.
Nice job. And the requisite selfies. But you did this in portrait mode, didn't you?
Yes.
Which is why I'm blurry. Thank you.
Yes, because I did. I didn't know. I don't know. I don't think I did it deliberately.
Remember, portrait mode does it automatically. Portrait mode sees that face and makes everything behind
Yeah, you
that
got to
face
change
blurry.
that f-stop option.
But I like it. Especially because you've got the Pantheon in the background
Yeah.
is also blurry.
Yeah, yeah.
But me being blurry, I don't mind that. I think this is a really nice.
Dave D says Shawn King never looked
No,
better.
exactly. I should always be shot in soft focus.
Oh no, I know all the girls like that too.
Exactly. They should definitely always shoot me in soft focus. Another example of some of the wonderful street art that we saw all over the place in Lisbon. Just wandering. This was literally, we were in a restaurant and it was at the
No, we
Miradus.
went to the Miradus and looked down in the night, and there was this yellow light glowing, and that's where we went down. We were staring at this mural, and then we went down to this tiny little itty bitty place, and the lady was in there painting the tiles and putting them in a little furnace. It was quite a. That struck me.
Yes.
That experience. Yeah, she just worked all by herself.
It was
6
like 9
days a
o'clock
week.
at night.
It was 9 o'clock, and there she was, and they were
Yeah,
exquisite.
they were beautiful.
And the mural was right next to her
I
little.
was really
little
disappointed
shop.
when we went back. She wasn't open.
Yeah, I think
So-
she was almost opening,
Yeah,
and
it was really
very hot that day.
The thing I
remember.
like most about this shot is that church steeple in the background.
I know, right? I edited it to bring it in
Yeah.
so that you could focus on that.
I really like that. Another good shot.
Interesting mural.
Through some, I'm not going to critique all of them.
No.
Why my double click isn't working? Tell me about this one. This one struck me as interesting, only because it's one of the few times you'll see stained glass without people in it. Where was this?
That was in the cathedral in the big main cathedral.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see this, but I love stained glass, and this struck me as very unusual to have stained glass because usually stained glass in cathedrals have religious figures in them.
Oh, yeah, these are like almost like tiles.
Yeah,
Yeah, no people.
It was very cool.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Here's an example. Here's what I was talking before when I was saying that Melissa and I took the same shot. I have the same shot of this little old Portuguese woman walking down with her groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa's shot is so much better than mine. It's a different angle. She was closer to me, and I was more to the right.
Yeah.
And I don't think I got the tree in the background or got the tree wrong. I think this is a much better shot than the one I took.
So I will say, honestly, I deliberately, because I wanted her in it very much. I wanted her as a focal point against the, I suppose, art. And I remember she was very nervous. She kept looking up at me and looking down like she wanted to hurry out of the shot as if she was in my way, and she wasn't in my way.
No, I really like that one.
Yeah.
And here's another example of a shot that Melissa took that I also took. I had Melissa stand on the right-hand side of this mural and took a picture, and I ruined it.
It didn't look good with me in it at all. It didn't need it, does it? Yeah.
Didn't need it. Your shot is much, much better than my shot.
Yeah. Isn't it great artwork? Oh, just...
And then there was this shot. Again, we both saw the same shot. You took yours much closer than I did.
Yes.
My shot was of the whole, this is along a whole wall.
It was very large.
Probably 30, 40 feet of wall.
Yeah, of eyes.
And I got the whole wall there. But why did you just take just these?
I did get a lot, and I edited it right down to close it in on the eyes.
Oh, so you did take a long shot then?
I did, and I wanted it to be like it looks just here.
Here's a shot that you took that I saw, but I didn't see the photo in it.
I think it's cool.
I love this shot.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed that we were looking at the same thing.
Well, it was through a mesh wire fence,
Yes.
and I stuck my phone through.
Yep.
And to get it because I didn't not want to miss out on this fish kind of collage thing.
And I know what I was thinking at the time. You stopped and said, "Oh, look at that!" I looked at it and I went, "There's no picture there." And
Interesting,
so,
huh?
Oh, my cute little wife. What does she know? I'll let her take the picture. Go ahead,
I think it's pretty cool.
And then you took it and went, "Oh shit, that's a really good photo."
Yeah, no, it was interesting. And that piece of land was interesting. It was all these ruins and I don't know.
I love this example. I'm going to use this in the classes from now on. This idea of I'm not the end all be all of photography. That every photographer has a different way of looking at the world.
That's what's beautiful about it.
Exactly. I love the fact that you and Dave and MacMan and Ann and Deborah and Mark, we were all in the same place, but quite often you took different photos.
It's very cool. You should make it a part of almost what you're like. Stand here, everybody, and go this far, and everybody take a picture, and then see what everybody takes a picture of.
And the idea of looking around to capture shots. This is another example that we were in the exact same place, and I literally did not see this mural.
Well, the story of that night was that we'd had our awful credit card incident, and we were wandering around the Alfalma district, and we were lost, and we were mad. We were fighting. We were having an argument. We were mad at each other. But obviously I wasn't too mad because Shawn was wandering around and we're going into places. We were completely lost. And I saw this and I turned around and thought, oh my God. So I stopped and took a picture. And Shawn kept wandering around angrily.
I never saw it.
And he never saw it. He said, where was I? I
No.
said, you were right there. So it just shows you the state of mind that you're in will affect your photography as well.
One of the things I loved about Lisbon was this. We saw this on several occasions. These trees literally growing up in the middle of sidewalks and
in centuries-old staircases.
They could have very easily made building the staircase so much easier. Just cut the tree down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. And now they have this beautiful tree in their walkway. But I'm using this as an example of taking a photo and then moving around and taking the photo again.
Yes, I didn't take that one.
You didn't? I thought you took both these photos.
Oh, well, maybe I did.
No, you did.
Okay, good. Because I remember going, Anne, look at this tree. And I wasn't sure what it was. Okay, good. There you go.
This is a great example of taking that photo, but
then working
the photo. I don't know if you were thinking, that one wasn't very good. Walking around, Monty, two different feels from the same object. Exactly.
Certainly the second one is much better.
This one, because you have this line going up the center, so your eyes are being drawn up the center. You have these stairs, your eyes are being drawn up. You have this beautiful tree, and people say, well, it's dead center. Well, the trunk of the tree is dead center, but the important part of the tree is off center, like we always talk about. No, I think this is a wonderful shot. And this one, I think, with the only downside of this one is I would pump up the colors, give it a little more.
Okay.
The tree was not this desaturated. It was a much brighter.
It was
much more purpley, pinky kind of tree.
Yes.
That yellow of the building on the sides is a little brighter yellow. One of the downsides of a lot of cameras, they don't saturate the colors as much as what our eyes see. So I would bring this in the Lightroom and bump up the colors a little bit.
Yeah, that would be. And Monty's right. The second one, the line is in the shot. The first one, the story is they kept the beautiful tree.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I think all the students did a wonderful job. And we're really so happy with the way things turned out for all of you guys. I'm very proud of the fact that, like I said, I hope I had some small effect on everyone's photography. I am not doing this to be facetious or sort of high on myself, but my photography is getting better, and it's exciting. The important thing is for all of the students, MacMan and Dave and Ann and Mark and Deborah and you, practice. You can't do this stuff, whether you read a book or watch a YouTube video or pay for a class or go to classes and do it once and then not do it again for 6 more months, because you'll forget whatever you paid or
It's
read
true.
or watched or whatever. It's got to be something to get better. Yeah, Dave D, you got to get out.
You do.
And as I always say in my classes, when I was beginning, I set aside time once a week. For me, it was Thursdays between 3 and 4. I went out and made sure I was a photographer between 3 and 4 and did nothing but photography. I practiced and practiced and practiced. After a time, things become fairly automatic. But even I noticed that if I haven't shot for a month or so in the dreary winter around here, I'll pick up my camera and go, shit, I've forgotten how to do this. What's this thing? And I'll fumble quite a bit. I did that for the first couple of days in Lisbon. My shots weren't coming out very well, and I couldn't figure out why. It's because I had forgotten what I knew about photography. It came back very quickly. But, yeah, you got to practice. You got to get out and do stuff. MacBan says, the one I went back and retook was because of your advice of look behind you. I was looking around while waiting for a long light to change. Fantastic. Exactly. The tips that I give folks, the tricks and the techniques, aren't things that are going to happen in every single photo. But it's like a little bit of a checklist you go through, and the more you practice it, the faster you go through that checklist of things to look for: the light, the angle, the look behind you, moving around the thing to take those pictures, being patient, waiting for that person to walk through your frame or to walk into your frame, depending on your point of view, and then the knowledge of photography, the knowledge of your camera, the knowledge of light. Light is the most important thing. Get out and practice shooting in the light. Let's see, we're running late, so let's wrap this up now, folks. I want to say thanks to everyone for being here tonight, or whether you're tuned in live or in the archive. Don't forget, please, I really need your support on subscribing to the YML Daily Report.
I do like that. That's classy.
I like that better than newsletter.
No, I like the daily
How
report.
about just the YML Daily?
Either one.
Because YML Daily? YML Daily either? Okay. Monty, I shot a bunch of stuff on the two nieces. I didn't notice till later that one of them had stuck their candy-covered finger on the lens.
Oh.
Ew. So I really need you guys to subscribe. Please support Your Mac Life in this particular way. Subscribe to the daily, Your Mac Life Daily, YML Daily. I like the daily.
I like daily.
You know what I actually wanted to call it in homage to my hometown newspaper? The YML Chronicle Herald.
No.
I know. It didn't roll off the tongue.
No.
But my hometown Halifax newspaper is the Chronicle Herald, and I read that as a kid every day. Read it every single day. The Halifax Chronicle Herald. But yeah, it didn't work. But YML Daily.
Sounds good.
I think we got a new name, kids. Thank you guys very much.
It's very classy.
Subscribe.
Simple.
Go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. On the left-hand side, you'll see a link to subscribe to it, or send me an email, and I will send you the link. All that. Thank you guys very much for joining. Thanks to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com for being here on the show. And thanks to you guys for listening to the show. As always, I also thank my beautiful one.
You're welcome.
Folks, as always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa
And
King.
you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya.
Bye.